Welcome back, and today I'm going to teach you one little trick that can cut your memorization in half for really any blindfolded method. In the past, you might have learned to memorize your corners, memorize edges, then execute edges, and then at the very end, execute corners. This is not a bad method, but it does force you to really memorize every single letter of the blind solve, which is not necessarily something that you have to do. I've been practicing 2x2 blindfolded a lot recently, and I realized that by mouthing the words, I can memorize all the letters just by going through each of them once. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I know how brain anatomy works, but I do know that there's a difference between memorizing letters like a story or like words, versus memorizing letters just as how they sound in your mouth. This is a really effective way of doing 2x2 blindfolded because you can just go through the corners once, and then execute them really quickly in about 20 to 30 seconds. I'll show you guys an example. So I'll just do this solve right here blindfolded. So the first letter is N, T, I, V, X, P. NTIVXP. See, just by sort of saying it, NTIVXP, that's already 6 letters that I would have had to think of like a mnemonic for, but NTIVXP, I can just execute that really quickly, and I don't really have to focus in on the letters. So I'm proposing sort of a new strategy where you will memorize the edges, really take these ones to heart. This is where you will use your symbols or mnemonics to memorize these, but then for the corners, treat it like a 2x2 blindfolded in the middle of the solve. So I will have memorized my edges, and then I will just quickly memorize corners, execute corners, and in this way, I never really memorize the corner letters. All I have to do is just mouth the letters as I go through, execute it, and then go back in my brain to the edges. One thing to be careful of when using this strategy is parity. I noticed that when I do my corners, I don't really think about whether it's an odd or even number, and then I forget to do the parity algorithm. So it's really important when you're doing edges to think about, do I have an odd number or an even number? Which is why, of course, I say to always memorize them in 2-letter chunks, so that at the end, if you have 1 letter left over, you know it's odd, or if you just end it with 2 letters, you know it's even. And of course, the best tip for memorization is just practice. When I was first starting out and all of this was new to me, it was pretty daunting to memorize all of those letters in a row. But I've gotten to the point where I've probably gotten every single 2-letter combination you can get on the 3x3, so I already have a nice little word for every combination on the cube. A thing that I started out with was actually the periodic table of elements. You can just, like if you had He, that's just helium, you know, you can just get 2-letter combinations and then remember that as an element. Well, this has been a bit of a short video, but there's nothing really else to say. The key is just to practice. I would suggest practicing 2x2 blindfolded like an hour a day for maybe 3 days, just so that you can get super comfortable with corner solving so that you can improve your memorization for 3x3 blindfolded. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you, and for the future, good luck.